minutes from our March 25th meeting. Commissioners, are there any corrections or additions? If not, do we have a motion for approval?
I'll motion to approve.
We got a motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye, those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion carried. We have no public hearing this evening, so we'll move to the next agenda on the next item on the agenda. That's the Wold Architects Site Plan 2018-57, McNamara Field Improvements. Mr. Foyney.
Thank you very much. The Planning Commission is asked to review the proposed improvements to McNamara Stadium that relate to site plan review as regulated by the city zoning code. This includes structures, parking, lighting, landscaping, and access as they relate to minor site plan review. Minor site plan review is where less than 25% of the new structures are added to the site. This site is nearly 5 acres in size, and it includes a few platted city blocks, undeveloped rights-of-way, and property owned by the Minnesota Department of Transportation, who has signed off on the city reviewing the application. The proposed improvements generally include installation of synthetic turf, handicap bleacher lift, parking lot paving, trash enclosure, ticket buildings, reconstruction of the concessions building, and sidewalks. The site use complies with the current zoning and future proposed land use of the comprehensive plan. This is a colored rendering of the proposed ticket buildings and part of the concession building. They meet the design requirements based on the large amount of stone veneer on the front of the new buildings. The rest of the buildings are pretty much rock-faced block. This is a photograph looking kind of south into the existing site, and one from the opposite direction looking kind of northeast. Pedestrian access is improved on the site by replacing sidewalks and adding a bleacher lift to the north bleachers. Vehicular access and circulation is improved by paving the parking lot. The amount of parking is mostly unchanged, although it's more organized, of course, with striping being possible and pavement. And due to the limited improvements to the site, parking requirements aren't required to be met. A photometric plan showing the light levels at the site has been submitted, and it shows low light levels at the property lines. In addition, the site is bound on all sides by mostly lit streets. The engineering department is reviewing the grading, drainage, erosion, and utility plans. Since some of the improvements are taking place on MnDOT property, they had to sign off on the application. But since the site is also adjacent to state highway, they have to sign off on a review of the submitted site plan. The plan's been submitted to them, and we haven't heard comments back yet. And staff is recommending approval subject to the conditions of the staff report, including replatting of the site before a certificate of occupancy is issued, or possibility of extending that if there's any issues with getting that plat done by that time at the discretion of the city. With that, I can stand for any questions. Otherwise, the applicants are also in attendance tonight.
Thank you, Justin. Commissioners, do we have any comments, questions for Justin or the applicants?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Martin.
When is construction supposed to begin? Is it this summer, completed by fall, or?
Correct.
Justin, do you have any information on the proposed bleacher lift? Just curious, what that looks like and how it functions.
I could turn it over to the applicants if they want to comment on that at all.
Kyle Edston with Wold Architects and Engineers. The proposed bleacher lift would include modifications to the west side of the north bleachers, basically modifying the existing stairway to create an additional landing for an outdoor lift in that location. Is there any other information you were looking for on it?
Nope, that's helpful. I was just curious. Thanks.
Justin, is it basically just the lighting in the parking lot that's being replaced then?
Again, I can turn over to the applicants if they want to comment on that. I imagine there's probably some other lighting around the building expansion areas.
I believe it's just the parking lot lights.
Okay.
Just the parking lot.
So maybe they're, okay, yeah.
Thank you.
The applicant had said from the, I just want to fill in for people, the applicant had stated that it's primarily just parking lot lights that are being added.
I know the turf right now is maintained by the school district. What type of maintenance is required with that turf? And is there a warranty of any sort, or just thinking into the future here with being out in the elements, what that's gonna be subjected to?
Good evening, Dave Ray with Anderson Johnson Associates, the civil engineer. Maintenance is pretty simple. It's a rubber infill system. So what they have to do is groom that from time to time. Basically it's a rake. It kind of fluffs up the surface, fluffs up the fibers that make up the grass, lifts those up so that it's not just matted down. There's annual sweeping, or actually sweeping whenever they need to, really. So there's debris from the athletes, those kinds of things, tape and that sort of stuff that has to be picked up. So it's just a basic lawn tractor, pull behind a lawn sweeper, picks up the materials, and they deposit it off in the garbage somewhere. Warranty, asked about warranty. Actually, I don't know what the warranty is. There's variations of the warranty. I don't know what this particular project has, but there is a warranty that the manufacturer offers. I can't remember if it's 2 years or 1 year or whatever it is, but it's the standard warranty, and there are options for warranties as well. I just don't remember what this particular project has in store for.
How does it drain through that field?
Pardon me?
How does the water drain through that field then?
Yeah, it actually drains right through the whole surface. So if I can draw a section in air here, you've got up on top, you've got the carpet, essentially is what it is, and in there is a rubber infill, and that's completely porous. The water goes right through it. Below that is a granite rock. I think 3/8 is the smallest size, so water flows through that very, very freely. And then below that, it's the existing sand soils that are on site, so it just kind of just goes right into the ground. I mean, it behaves a little bit like natural grass. It's just it just gets to the sand a little bit quicker through that media that the turf provides.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Commissioners, any other questions, comments?
Mr. Chair, I don't think we got that drawing. Is this where the trees are replaced, or
This is a drawing that I think you received but it's, I mixed a couple screens together.
Okay.
I'll point out, I forgot to point out that this little square in red is the tree that's being removed with some landscaping area around it.
Oh.
And then on the bottom, you can see the 3 trees that are added to make up for that loss of that landscaping area.
I've got a kind of a question just about process. When something like this comes forward, has it already gone through like, like the district needs and the availability to convert it to accommodate the different sport? I mean, was there like something set out by the school district that asks for improvements, or help me understand where this is coming from?
Well, the school district is totally separate from the city, and they've already made their decisions and directed this plan to be drawn up. And so that's where it is by the time we get it. I don't know and haven't been part of that process.
Okay, so the school district starts the ball rolling, saying there's a need, and then the actual construction is taken on by the city and versus monies through the school district?
No, the city is not a part of this project at all, other than reviewing it for compliance with the ordinances
Okay,
that we've adopted.
got it.
Commissioners, any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Best?
When you're talking about the lift for the handicap accessibility, how much of the stairs are gonna be taken away? Because I already know it is kind of a mess getting in and out on the staircases. So do we know about how much is gonna be taken away?
I apologize if I was miscommunicating before. The stairs are just modified to fit where the lift will be located. The stairs will remain, the same function, same access.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments, questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Barros?
I'd like to make a motion for approval of item 3, site plan 2018-57.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second. Any other further comments? Questions? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. Motion passes. And Justin, what's next for this?
This will go to the city council meeting. My calendar. Next Monday, the 15th. Thank you. For approval, or review by the city council.
Okay, thank you. Other business?
The city council at their last meeting approved the subdivision and the variance request for 1548 Featherstone Road. And for the next planning commission meeting on April 22nd, we've got 3 items on the agenda so far. An ordinance amendment for the keeping of chickens in residential areas. Rezoning for the former Auto Stop gas station on Vermillion Street. And a special use permit for automotive sales. And a public hearing to receive public comments on the final draft of the comprehensive plan. And to review the comments from affected jurisdictions who have reviewed that plan. That's all for staff.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Justin, did the chickens come from a citizen, or what prompted that?
Yeah, it has. We've gotten calls, several calls a year, asking about that, asking if we do allow it, or asking if we can relook at it if they're aware that it was reviewed in 2009, when Leduc brought it up for part of their site. Citizens came to the planning commission meeting and asked that it be expanded for residential areas. And so we had, at the direction of the planning commission, we had brought back an ordinance that would allow it, would have allowed it in residential areas. The planning commission recommended approval, and the city council had denied that in 2009. And it's just kind of always been on some people's minds through time, and I know that some people have reached out to elected officials and asked that it be brought back for discussion.
Any other questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Did we have a second?
I don't think we do second.